So before I get started, I want y'all to think long and hard about prayer. And we're going to have a moment of silence for those we have lost. What's up, blessed ones? You are now blaring the podcast. Brought to you by AB1 Studios. Thank you for your time. Listening. You want to know something else, blessed ones? So, I was asking my friend about prayer, right? And I want to ask y'all the same question as far as what is prayer? What is it to you? And what is it for you? And the difference between reflection and conviction. Because we know the definition of it, but it's like there are two different things under the same umbrella. What is pretty much being self-conscious and also taking accountability. And I know I talk about that all the time, but it's like when we pray, right? Who are we praying to? What are we praying to? Why are we praying? What does it mean? Because not everybody has the same religion. Not everybody has the same faith. Not everybody has the same lifestyle. But one thing that I always look about is like, when it comes to reflecting on certain things in my life, certain actions that I knew better then. Because reflection is just having some thought and, considering things, where conviction is pretty much more so just having a belief and opinion. But it's still, like I said, it's still in the mind, it's still personal, it's still more internal. So I just want to, challenge y'all today, if I can, or, y'all just really look at your lives and think about certain things that are not going your way, certain things that you can't help, certain things that you can't control versus the things that you can. And really just stay positive and inspired to do better if you can. Because I know there's also that narrative or this belief that we all can, have the capability to do certain things when really everything, like I always say, certain things start in the mind. So I can't sit here and tell somebody what they're capable of, what they're not capable of. And the only one that I bring this quote up is because like I had just got back in the gym, and I didn't realize just like it's almost like I forgot exactly like man this like my body is really it's I mean I'm 36, so it's like my body is changing because I remember when I started going back to the gym, probably like in my earlier 20s, probably like 10 years ago. Like I didn't feel like this when I started going. But I know as I get older, and then even with the certain things that I eat and the certain times I go, like I'm already tired, I'm already doing things on top of work. So it's certain, I know there's going to be different reactions. And, I really pray, like I really be praying and really be asking and talking to God. Like I say, prayer to me is really just my walk with God. It's not perfect, but it's like, I have conversations with God. I, have reflection, I confess and have my convictions, and then I, you know, end up coming back to him the next day, talking about the same thing. Because it is a challenge. It is something that's, hard to do sometimes, getting, you know, ridding old habits and old routines. It is very hard. And for me, there are certain habits and routines that I was so used to. And even like with social media, like that's another thing that I always talk about is how like the dopamine is a real thing. I had removed myself from social media, and I wanted to stay committed to that for a certain amount of time. Even though everything's still just starting now, with it's beginning of September, and I still got about 90 days before the year's over with. So I have set goals for that, and I have my own other reasons on why I decided to, remove myself from that. But it's a lot. Change is a lot, growth is a lot, but it's like it's worth it because it's again, we have to sometimes take control of our well-being. Because like I say, sometimes we can be sitting here and talk about praying and talk about God can judge me, only God can condemn me. But it's like, do you really think about God with anything else? Do you only think about God when people are misjudging you? Do you only think about God when you are going through hard times and now you need help? Do you only think about God when, you're sick or a family member sick? But it's like there's always those gray areas, but it's really not. It just all depends on the decisions. I mean, it's no secret. There's been comments in regards to what Glorilla said as far as like for the people in their 20s, to be toxic while you're in your 20s. Then you have the D1 Lecrae Ratchet versus Righteous, and it's like my thing though is like if you know better, do better. It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to make mistakes, but it's not okay to blatantly do things and do harm to people. It's not okay to be, very nasty with people and just disrespectful just because you can, because it like I obviously I never want to be one of those old heads that talks about regrets and throwing things that he should have did back then, because again there has been instances where I had to think about it. I'm a father, and as a father you wear many hats, and I always I will double down on this every episode if I got to, but it's like I'm a protector, I'm a provider. I'm a friend. I'm a supporter. I'm a fan. I'm the strength. I'm the weak. Like I'm all these hats, and that's how God is to me. Him being my heavenly Father, my spiritual guide. It's like I have to rely on Him, depend on Him. However, at the same time, I do have to be able to see Him through my circle, through my environment, through my culture, because it's all based on what we see. Like the devil will pervert and use something God had created or made to be holy or encouraging and uplifting and make it look like dirt, judgment, misjudgment, or whatever. So my only point is when we if you're a person who believes in prayer or a person that does pray or requests prayer, and it's why, what is your reasoning? Why do you do that? To me, I always say, and it's just something that I, really realized for me. And I want to be clear and not vague when I say this. Prayer is for me, but work is for others. Regardless of what your faith or your religious background or atheism or whatnot is, you're going to rely on someone. So we can talk about science. We're going to talk about consciousness. We're going to talk about nature. We can talk about whatever we want, but God, the Father, our Creator, Yahweh, who created all things, is the Creator and put everything in motion. Everything else is designed from Him. So when I think about reflecting and conviction, there's still differences. Words do matter, and words do have different meaning, but there's still going to be it's that little bubble. Like I always use. It's like there's you're the center. You are the center of your world, and then the people who are in the world. There's going to be a few of them who comes in within the center of your world. So when I reflect on certain things, I have conviction. So when I pray, it, helps me find that that ground to talk to God. It's more like, it's like meditation, right? There's a medium there. And it's almost kind of like, I have to hear His voice. So I don't want to misguide myself by always depending on other people. Of course, there's times where I say, I might open my Bible and find guidance there. But again, I'm not as in my Bible as I once was, or maybe as I should be, because I know that is my guidelines. That is my standard. And I have to be better. Like I always say, I have to be a better man for God. I have to be a better man for myself. I have to be a better man for my son. And then everything else that falls under that, work, family, friends, because I do feel like we are here for a purpose. And maybe if everybody's purpose isn't to be a service to others, we have to also be a service of God. But like going back again to like the whole factor of good versus evil, ratchet and righteous, sinning and not sinning is one of those things where it's like we just have to have a gauge. Because like I said again, God created all things. God put everything in motion, but we just kind of like demonetized it and scrutinized it and crucified people for doing things that were different, and then it became one of those type democracies where we have to make a decision as far as like what is right, what is wrong, what is morale. So, I just wanted to really just address that because we're losing so many people. Like if you're listening to this, I know I know that you may have lost someone before. It could have been recent, it could have been a long time ago, but it's just a lot. And around this time of year, with winter coming, and there's a lot happens in winter. People are outside in the summertime, doing what they doing, but in the wintertime, it gets pretty active too. It's cold. People still be outside, but now it's kind of like it's the holidays. You got Labor Day, you got Halloween, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas. I think every month though has a holiday, but I'm always interested to hear other people's perspectives and stories. And I say it, and I'm gonna say it again. This is what this podcast is for. I want to I want participation. And one thing too that I'll make a note of, since I have your ear, is that social media is another distribution tool. It's another form of communication. So when people are venting, expressing themselves, sharing stories, sharing posts on their page, it's not to say that that's who they are. Excuse me. But overall, just like anything else, you are a reflection of your friends. You are a reflection of your spouse. You are like, we all have to reconsider. I'm sorry. I get tired, like I said, I've just been working. Like, we all get those moments where we're sitting alone in a dark room. Like, we sleep and, some people sleep alone, some people don't. But when you're asleep, when your eyes are closed, when your eyes are open, when you are in your head, nobody's there. Nobody's there but you and God and the devil. Because our minds, our bodies were designed that way. It was designed to be used as a vessel. It was designed to be used as a gauge. So it's like, be careful what you feed yourself, mentally and physically. Because I'm going to tell you, people will treat you the way you treat yourself. And it's hard for me to even say that and admit that, because the thing is like, if you're doubting yourself, if you're kind of telling yourself that, you don't mean anything, that's oftentimes how people are going to treat you. And the interesting thing about that, I always found remarkable, is nobody will even have to hear you, because the universe does. And that's the thing, even when we talk about, demon seeds, like your children and stuff, people be so be it's like, we can't touch the kids, right? You can't mention the kids. Don't talk about people's kids. Don't talk about people's kids. Don't talk about people's mama. Don't just be direct with the one person. Yeah, I'm falling asleep, but we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and look at what we see. Do you see fear? Do you see confusion? Do you see flaws? Can you fix it? Can you do something about it? All faith and no work is dead, they say, but it's like, you know what? All work and no play is there, because we have to enjoy the fruits of our labor as well, to keep us sane. We're not just to constantly be working until we're dead. No, I don't think. I think that's mainly survival. But that's not wealth. That's not growth. Maintaining is not success. At least not to me. But all I wanted to, close with was, know who you are. Because when especially when you're in a position, as much as us as people make mistakes, I think when you're in a position to make least mistakes, it's possible to make none. But that's all. As always, blessed one, stay safe, stay prosperous, productive, and positive. This is Blair, and I'm out. One.